All right, what's up, fam? This is the men-votional. We're going to be speaking about Acts chapter 16, starting at verse 16. Hopefully, we make it to verse 23. The concept of this chapter is speaking about rejoice in all things in this men-votional. Rejoice in all things. As a man, you got to have joy in your arsenal to be able to make it through heartache, pain, agony, suffering. Because as a husband, as a leader, as a champion, those are all things that you will have to deal with as a man. So let me help you through that with this man devotional that's made especially for you. Now peep this out. All right, Book of Acts. Give you the context. Rome was ruling over the Hebrew people. As a result, Rome adopted the Greek culture so much so that all the gods came from Greek origin. This God that I'm going to be speaking about that Paul was facing is Apollo, and he was the god over good fortune, over good harvest. He's also had connections with the sun. He was a god that you had to serve, worship, and be connected with if you wanted to have good fortune. Matter of fact, the city that Paul was dwelling in was built off of this god. The whole financial stability was based off of the belief in this God. He told good fortune. He had oracles that spoke on his behalf, and they gave money. So much so that they had games. There was connected entertainment that was connected to this city, to this God being real and authentic. Okay, so Paul is going to service, right? That's where you see the verse 16. He's going to service and he's going to pray. A lot of times, us as men, we're doing our service, which is prayer, connecting with God, things that's just basically minding our business. And as a man, when I pray for my family and I do for my family, I attend to my family, I'm basically minding my business. And that's what Paul was doing. But sometimes when you operate in your calling, you're not just minding your business. It's going to put you in the business of others. And then that's where things get complicated, because if you anything like me, I just want to mind mine because I got enough on my plate. I ain't worried about, I need to pray more. So I ain't worried about if you praying more. What happens here? Paul, while he was going to his service, while he was going to his place of prayer, this lady keeps on talking, keeps on hurling out, these men are the most high's messengers. These men are men of God. And she was doing it so much so every day that it became annoying to God. This lady had a spirit within her, and that spirit was constantly hurling out, these men, Paul, these men are the most high, and just so much so that it was annoying. And Paul knew that eventually him and his lady was going to have a confrontation, because it was becoming so annoying that he was going to have to have a direct conversation with that spirit. Keep in mind, we as men are going through some things, right, that we've been trying to avoid, that we've been trying to ignore, but because it's becoming so annoying, God had set it up that way because you wouldn't do it if it didn't annoy you. Some things your wife is bringing to your forefront of your thinking, complaining about, because you wouldn't move on it if she didn't complain about it. Right? If you wasn't annoyed, if you wasn't pissed off, you wouldn't even think about doing what you need to be doing. So God is sovereign in that manner, because he knows how you move. Sometimes me as a man, I want to just think about my business, as I said before, but God has, when you operate in your calling, I told you, it puts you in other people's business. So I'm in a business of trying to help men become more accountable. And that puts me in the place of other guys, and helping them become more accountable puts a burden on me, and it's annoying to me, so much so that I had to start a ministry in this area so I can be relieved from doing what I need to be doing, because it was that annoying to me. And that's what God would do. What is God annoying you with? And God is using that annoyance to bring you into your calling. All right, so Paul looked at the lady and was like, hey, this is what you, come out of this woman. spirit come out of this woman, and the spirit departed from the woman, and the woman was free. Paul understood that what was annoying him had spiritual implications. What's annoying you has spiritual implications. What's annoying you about your wife has spiritual implications. What's annoying you about your calling has spiritual implications. Sometimes we just so satisfied with just being serving our wives. When what I mean by that, when I say serving, I'm thinking about protect, provide, bring provisions. That we forget the calling of a husband, which is to be a saving agent for our wives. That's what we're called to do. We want to just focus on the service, but what we're called to do is be a saving agent for our wives, for our homes, for our community. That's the call. But we just want to operate off of our business, right? And as a husband, you can't just be about your business. You gotta also be about your wife's business. And in ministry, you can't just be about your own business. You gotta be about other people's business as well. And when you do that, and you see it from a spiritual lens and see the spiritual component, you don't have to take things so personal, because you know there's a spiritual connection here. And that's what Paul did. He called out the spirit, but when you call out the spirit, you think everything's gonna be peachy and peaches and cream, but that's where all the chaos comes in at. When you really start going against principalities and high places, you better have joy on your side, because you're about to go through hell. And that's what happened with Paul. I told you the city was operating off of this oracle being what it is. Everybody, due to what Paul did, everybody started abandoning the temples. Everybody started moving in the capacity of what they was doing, and the whole city financially started to break down because this oracle wasn't in place. And so much so, the money and income in the economic city was collapsing. They said, what happened to this city? What happened to that spirit that we was holding on to because we was getting revenue? Who did this to this woman? And they went to Paul and they put him in jail. They beat him. He was sleep deprived. He was hurt. He was going through agony. He was in prison. He was taken away from his home, all because he spoke to that spirit. All because he started operating in his calling. All because he was being a saving agent for his family. I'm speaking to the husbands. When you start really operating as a husband in a full capacity, you understand you about to open up a can of worms. Ain't nobody about to be applauding you. Ain't nobody going to be thanking you, because they're going to be mad as hell, because you are attacking things that they don't want to be attacked. You are unveiling things that they don't want to be unveiled. You are opening things that they want to keep confined. So as a result of that, they're going to see you as the enemy. When you see the spirit as the enemy, they see you as the enemy. So they're going to personally attack you. When I'm working with men and I'm speaking to them on a higher level, they sometimes see me as the enemy, but I see the enemy in them, which is the spirit component that leads us to faulty thinking. In other words, Paul rescued that lady, put him in jail, put him in a bonded place, and also his bondage, his pain, his agony led him to bring refuge and bring redemption to the jailer that he was in bondage to. He gave his whole family salvation due to him being in jail. So I say all this to say, when you are in agony and when you're in pain, you're going through it for a purpose. It ain't always for you. Oftentimes it don't have nothing to do with you. But if Paul didn't go to jail, he wouldn't being able to bring redemption to a whole household. So in other words, what transpired when he was in jail and his hands was unshackled due to an earthquake that God brought, the jailer was about to kill himself, and Paul said, "No, don't do that, because we still here." And that dude said, "Hey man, what do I need to do to be saved? What kind of God do you serve?" Because he can rattle this whole facility, this whole world. Who are you serving? What kind of life and what kind of suffering do you need to go through for somebody else's family to be saved, for your family to get saved? I say all this. This is the men-votional. I'm here for you. I love you.